So this video, I feel like I should probably get into a bit of my background. Who am I, and what makes me think and see things the way I see things. Um, I'm an artist. I draw, I paint, I sculpt, I do 3D work, I do texture designs. I've done website designs. I've created um, how would you call them, computer-based learning courses, computer-based training courses. Like if you ever gotten a job at like a Walmart or a Target or any corporate industry where they put you through those tests to make sure that you know what you're doing to cover their own legal asses, I've made those tests for various different companies. But how I started drawing, my parents tell me that what it was is, as a toddler, I was very inquisitive. I would ask what things were and have my parents draw them, or like for instance, what's a bulldozer? Okay, now draw it. What's a garden stool? Okay, now draw it. What's a cat? Okay, now draw it. Um, I didn't really pick up on drawing as like, I mean, I doodled as a younger kid, but I didn't really pick up on drawing until I was around 8 or 9, maybe 8. Um, I had an uncle who would put on, well, he's still alive, so I can't say had, but I have an uncle who, when I was a kid, he would put on these scary Halloween masks, and me as a kid, I would freak out, I would cry, scream, all of that. I was afraid of masks, and I had gotten these really, really terrible nightmares because of it. And they would just about every night I was having these nightmares, and not that I knew how to get rid of them or that I knew to use drawing to get rid of them, but what I did learn was that by drawing the nightmares, I kind of was able to conquer them. I kind of became the superhero in my own bad dream. Something about drawing the creature in the bad dream allowed me to realize, well, maybe it's not as bad as it seems when putting it on paper. Um, I liked drawing things like Pokemon because when I was 8, 9, Pokemon had just come out. That's when Ash had just caught Pikachu and whatnot. Well, not caught, but was given Pikachu. Um, I also had gotten into Dragon Ball Z and drawing it, and then I rapidly realized that I did not like Dragon Ball Z art style, mainly because it was very disproportionate. It wasn't the only anime or show I watched. I also played the games, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Mario, and all that. And I would often try to draw things from those various different games. When you get used to drawing body types that are of the Dragon Ball Z variety, you take that same art style and apply it to different types of characters, it doesn't look right. Seeing Scorpion or Mario or Ryu looking like beefed up like a Dragon Ball Z character, it looked wrong. And it was in doing that because, I mean, 8, 9 years old, you fall into repetition, and that bit of style that you've been doodling becomes your style. And I realized that wasn't gonna work for me. It's too disproportionate. It I didn't like how it had Scorpion and Sub Zero looking, so I had to become more proper and more accurate in body proportions. And from there, I kind of veered away from Dragon Ball Z, and I actually stopped liking it just because of the art. I would see the art, I would see the anime, and I didn't like the way the eyes were shaped like boxes. I didn't like how far out the shoulders were. I didn't like that the hands didn't go past the waist. Like if you look at a person standing up, your hands go past your waist. Your shoulders aren't so far out. Like there was a lot of mistakes that I had to bring myself out of when it came to art. Come teenage years, when I was 15, I had gotten my first computer. I had gotten it for my birthday, and that is where my art took a different turn because now we're stepping into a digital world. And from that point on, I mean, I was doing stuff on paper as well, but I was also dabbling with digital stuff. At that point, I wasn't using Photoshop. I was using Paint Shop Pro, Photo X2, or one of them things. Um, I was also dabbling in AOL, where we had FTP spaces, and I don't know if you remember those, but they were like these. I can't say for I can't tell you what FTP space is by I guess you say professional definition. I can only say what I remember it to be. It was these spaces with a big black page, and you more or less threw together your own type of website. And that's exactly what I did. I would use graphic designs and different various things to drag and drop and place within this FTP space and make my own little websites. And it was during a time when AOL had these profiles where you could drop HTML pages inside the profile, and that was all the rage with everyone. Um, I would say the reason why it was all the rage is because of what's called the online roleplay community. Not roleplay in the sense of what you would think, two adults doing behind closed doors, although not too far off either. It was more of storytelling in the sense of writing. I originally got into it through Harry Potter fandoms and Zelda fandoms. Eventually, from there, I went to other things: Naruto, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and I came across furries along the way. Putting aside the furries for now, the FTP spaces that we were creating were they were oftentimes like little graphic designs, little art things with scroll boxes and whatnot that were pertaining to the character that person was role playing as. And so I had gotten, my bits of experience there, and then we also did web page design. It was a very popular thing during that time to have group storylines, group role play sessions. So like someone might have had an X-Men themed role play group, and what they would have done is they would have made a website either using what was called freewebs.com or moonfruit.com to create their website. And the website's pretty much they gave a quick summary of what the site was for. They showed the people who were involved in it. They gave I guess updates to events and whatnot, and then it would be applications for people who were interested in joining. I had liked the idea of being able to make my own website, and I will say I had made my own for a couple of different storylines or whatever. In fact, I was one of those who made their own group storyline. I called it Westchester University of Supernatural Humans, WUSH for short. And when I made it, even though I had a disclaimer on the front page saying that this is not a real college, this is not a real thing, this is all fantasy, I had still gotten several emails with resumes and applications from people who thought this was a real thing, people who were trying to get jobs as professors. So even though it was a joke, even though not a joke, but even though it was, it was something recreational, it was still, I guess, good enough, professional enough that it tricked people into thinking that it was legit. My mother is still a little fascinated and still wild that I was able to do that. And that was back when I was like 16, 17. But it was also through that I came across the furry community. The furry community back then and today, oh God. Okay, so how do I break this down? When I came across it, it was through a picture that someone had of a polar bear warrior drawn by Dark Natasha. I'm going to give her full credit because she's the one who truly got me into the furries. Dark Natasha is an old artist from, I think, 2002, 2003, 2004. Like, that's when her art, those are dates on her art, I should say. And there was a picture of a polar bear warrior, and I thought, well, that's fucking brilliant. Like, it's sort of like SWAT cats-ish. Although it wasn't high-tech, right? It was more like, Viking-ish gladiator warrior type polar bear, but it was a polar bear with armor and axe, shoulder plate, and all that. Look badass. And my thought of designing and wanting to be a comic book creator at the time, I figured that would make an awesome type of character. It's a type of animal that has heightened senses, heightened smells, hearing, all that. It makes sense. And then I started looking at what others were doing, just to get, I guess, a feel for, what was trending, what was popular. Because one thing about me is I never really went with what trended. I kind of went the opposite way. If everyone was going left, I was going right. Just because I didn't want to be part of the flock. I didn't want to be part of the crowd. I wanted to go my own way. And so when I started looking into it, the more popular furries were your canines and your horses. and you grow to realize why that is, and it's because of genitalia. It was all fetish based, more or less. The horses in the furry world are like the BBC to the furry world, right? The big black, you get it. And then dogs were just right behind, and dogs were just popular all together. Wolves, canines, whatever. My first furry ended up not even being furry. It was an orca. It just because orcas were my favorite animal. Um, I had gone to SeaWorld. I enjoyed seeing Shamu. I enjoyed what I studied of orcas. I enjoyed the techniques of sneaking and hunting. I just thought orcas were fascinating. And um, I thought, what would be funnier than this big, tall, orca dude type character who thinks he's a ninja and is trying to blend in with things, but he can't, right? Okay, some of it might have been inspired by Kizame from Naruto, if you know who that is. He's that shark character, except I kind of feel like Kazami was. I mean, Kazami was a badass, but that's what he was. A badass was what I was creating was supposed to be not so much a badass, but a goofball, a big giant goofball. I wasn't taking it seriously. But as I got into it more and more, I created more furries. I designed more things, and I learned how highly sexual the furry community was. And this may sound weird coming from a guy, right? But I wasn't hypersexual. I wasn't hypersexual focused. Back then, I was dating someone. I had a girlfriend. We were together for years, but and so it wasn't. I wasn't. How do I say? I wasn't making my interest in furries based around what everyone else was. I like the idea of making a community that would just regularly role play together, how the other communities role play together, such as the superhuman mutant communities and the Zelda and Harry Potter communities. People just come together and make a story. But whenever it came to the furries and you get them together for a group story, everything always devolved into sex, 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 sex. So that kind of that was what it was. Um, I should probably I should probably save the furry conversation for another video because there's more I would like to divulge on that. But I would like to point out that being an artist doesn't make you, the most intelligent, but if you're a type of artist who pays attention to details, chances are you're also able to see things that other people aren't seeing. And that's one thing I'm learning about myself is I'm able to look at the big picture and see all the cogs and turns and all the nuts and bolts in play, and I'm noticing the way one side of the picture affects the other side and how one corner fucks up the other corner of the, like, people are seeing one part of the picture, another side seeing another part of the picture, and none of them are seeing how it all blends together, how it all affects each other, right? um so art is me. Art is who I am, is what I breathe, is what I bleed. I can't play a video game unless there has some form of creativity in it, whether it's just designing my avatar or goofing around with some kind of vehicle. As long as it has some form of creation in it, chances are I will play it. If it doesn't, chances are I won't play it. But art isn't just about everything I do, and I can't help it, even if I tried. I'm not a successful artist. I'm probably never gonna be a successful artist. But it is what it is. It doesn't stop me from making art. But I do hope, if anything, not that I want my art to be successful, not that I want to become rich off of it, but I would like for my art to reach people in a way that has a positive change. If I want to be known for anything, it's having been the artist who cared about the people, who made something to bring people to, I don't know, a more kind world. There's no such thing as utopia. It's not gonna happen. You need dark clouds and rainy skies to appreciate sunrise, and right. But I would like for my art and my message to have a positive impact. That if tomorrow, a week from now, some couple years from now, if whatever, whenever I go, my message and what I stand for is left behind, and it's something for others to go off of and build off of. Not to be misinterpreted, not to be misunderstood, but to be taken for raw face value. This person meant something good. This person meant to spread something good. And that's where I'm at. So I'll be discussing different things on this channel. I'll be discussing religion and spirituality, politics, history, UFOs, cryptids. I might show some cat appreciation. I might tell you what it's like growing up in the city I grew up in. I might go into more patriotic stuff. I will eventually be calling out the furry community because there's things that I think you people need to know. Not you people as in the furry community, but everyone who's not in the furry community, who's not aware of what's happening within and how what's in is affecting the real world. Yeah. So I'm gonna be opening up. I'm gonna be sharing a lot. Is this gonna hit a lot of people? Is it gonna reach a lot of people? I hope so. I don't know, but I won't know unless I try, right? So here I am giving it a try. Hopefully you guys like what I have to say, and like, subscribe, whatever. If you don't, I just hope that you enjoy what I have to say. Thank you.